Yo, what's good? It's your man Vernon from Tiger Picks MMA, coming off a pretty sad weekend with freaking Kai France versus Amir Bazi this past weekend, and it shouldn't have been. We should have hit a lot more bets than we did. Man, if you guys know the saying, always listen to your gut, it's so true, man. Always listen to your gut instinct, your first instinct. Don't let social media, don't let other opinions or narratives or stories or whatever like that switch from what you seen at first, because obviously your eyes, your gut was telling you something at first. Just stick with it, but you can't cry over spilled milk, man. You just move on to the next week or the next card or the next day, whatever it is for you. For us, it's going to be this weekend, Amanda Nunes versus Aldana, UFC 289 in Vancouver, Canada at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, which has like 11 fights scheduled. The women's bantamweight title will be on the line in a 5-round fight. The co-main, I want to say, is going to be I gotta cheat for this one. No, I don't. It's Charles Oliveira versus Beneil Dariush. I didn't even get to Tapology yet. But pulling up our notes, man, going down the fight. I should say going up the fight, because we're going to be starting with fight number 1 on Tapology, which is Diana Belbita versus Maria Oliveira. And we got actually a pick'em fight here. Diana Belbita is coming in at -105, and Maria Oliveira is coming in at -115. We got Diana Belbita. She's a Romanian striker. She fights out of Ontario, Canada. So in my eyes, she's kind of playing as the hometown favorite in this fight. She's 14-7 in her pro MMA career. She's 1-3 in her UFC career. She's 26 years old, so still young. She's 5'7" with a 68-inch reach, and she's going to be fighting, like I said, Maria Oliveira, who's 13-6 in her pro career, 1-2 in her UFC career, 26 years old, 5'6", 69-inch reach. When I'm doing film study for Diana Belbita, I'm seeing that she likes to throw in a lot of combinations a lot. She doesn't just stick to one jab or one straight or body kick. Everything gets mixed in her combinations with strikes and kicks, right? She throws strikes to the body well. She will mix in low leg kicks every now and then. She throws a nice head kick. She's somewhat hittable, but good at finding and keeping her range. Gave up a double leg takedown versus DePaula. Gave up 3 against McCann. She looks good in 3-round fights. In 3-round striking fights, I should say. When she's getting taken down and held down and then having the round reset or, going to the next round, she's not looking good in those type of fights. I don't think she's going to have that type of problem here this weekend. When I'm looking at her in the clinch, she can be held against the cage for moments. We've seen that against Goldie. She shows power in her right hand. We also seen that in Goldie when she knocked her down and she was just piecing her up. Goldie did not look like she wanted to be there at all. She did give up a submission armbar versus Jojua, however you pronounce her name, but when I'm going down Tapology and I'm going down her record, she has a lot of arm bars. She looks like she's really tricky on the ground, so I didn't really pin that against her. She has a good striking output, right? She throws around 6 strikes per 6 significant strikes per minute, and that's why it's the SSS, 6 significant strikes per minute, right? Like I said, her cardio checked out good in 3-round striking fights. Maria Oliveira on the other end, she's 13-6, 1-2 in her UFC career. She's 26 years old. She's 5-6 with a 69-inch reach. I feel like I read that already when I was, anyway. Moving on, when I'm watching film on her, she throws a nice front kick, will mix in low leg kicks, Good use of a jab. She throws a nice straight right. She did give up a double leg takedown versus Demopoulos 2 times, 1 versus DePaula, and 3 times versus Tabitha Ricci. I don't think her opponent is going to be looking for takedowns here. Honestly, I think this fight plays out on the feet. When she is getting taken down, she can be held down for long moments. She does lack a get-up game and can leave open in striking exchanges. She got knocked down versus Vanessa Demopoulos when she had the, in my opinion, the striking advantage going into that fight and the height advantage. So the reach advantage, everything was on her side, but she still got knocked down. You get what I'm saying? She can have her kicks get caught and get taken down. We've seen that versus Tabitha Ricci. My pick for this fight is going to be Diana Belbita by decision. I think the fight do play out very closely. Both are very good strikers, or somewhat good strikers with good output and good cardio. I do think Belbita may be able to mix in probably 1 takedown, like at the end of a round, just to secure, her win. It's a low level women's fight. You can't put too much stock into it. But I do like Diana Belbita a lot in this fight this weekend. And I got to go with my gut. I will be playing her money line this weekend. Give me Diana Belbita by decision. Bet is Diana Belbita money line. The next fight is David Dvorak versus Steven Erceg. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last. No, I do know I'm pronouncing his last name right now. Yeah, Steven Erceg. You got David Dvorak, who's minus 175 in this fight, and Steve Erceg is plus 150. David Dvorak is 20 and 5. He's 3-2 in the UFC. 25 in his pro, career, and 3-2 in his UFC. I don't even know why I felt like I had to say it like that. You guys get what I'm saying. David Dvorak is 31 years old. He's 5'5" with a 68-inch reach. And he's fighting Steven Erceg, who's 9-1 in his pro career. He's making his MMA. He's making his UFC debut. He's 27 years old. He's 5'9", with a 68.5-inch reach, right? So we got David Dvorak, who's fighting out of Czech Republic. When I'm doing film on him, I see that he moves around the cage well. He can be reversed by opponents with good jiu-jitsu. He shows, when I say be reversed, because he has some good takedowns every now and then, right? He showed a good body lock takedown versus Manel Cape, but he showed that he can be reversed by opponents with good jiu-jitsu. He shows a nice straight right. He has great use of low leg kicks. He can leave openings in striking exchanges. He got wobbled versus Manel Cape. He got knocked down versus Matthew Nicolau. He looks opportunistic to take the back when opponents using spinning strikes. So whenever they're throwing like a spinning kick, a spinning punch, or anything like that, he's looking to take the back, drag you to the mat, or just kind of like be physical with you. He's not just going to let you get away with throwing something crazy, basically, right? He has a good use of the jab. He shows toughness and durability. He has good forward pressure against opponents that allow it. He shows power in the overhand right when he wobbled Ronderos. He shows he has offensive submission weapons. He has good use of feints, and he will switch stances to give opponents different looks. On the other end, I feel like I'm a wordsmith at this point, right? On the other end, we're looking at Steven Erceg. He's looking like a good jiu-jitsu specialist coming from Perth, Australia. And if you guys know, Perth is just like a big place in the MMA world to have big fights right now. They have a champion in Alexander Volkanovski. It's kind of like a hype little thing right now, going for Perf in the MMA world, right? In my eyes. When I'm looking at Steven Erceg, he looks to take the back. He shows a good body triangle. He has back control. He shows offensive submission weapons. He will mix in low leg kicks, good use of the jab. He can leave his sloppy takedowns. He can have his sloppy takedowns reversed to end up on bottom. He gave up a clinch takedown, like a trip takedown versus Hadon. He can leave openings in striking exchange. He got rocked versus Hadon, that same fight. On short notice, he seemed to slow in the third round, but was able to push through fatigue well. He throws a nice body kick, shows power in the counter right when he knocked down Ross. Good use of feints, shows power in the left hook, shows good top control, and has reversals and sweeps that are pretty slick. My pick for this fight, I want to side with Steven Erceg. I do want to side with Steven Erceg, but it would have to be David Dvorak. I do think he'll be able to stop some of the takedowns in this fight. Oh, man. This is going to be a pretty good fight, guys. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I do think David could stop some of the takedowns, and he has he has the better striking out of the two. He has good footwork. But his cardio does raises my eyebrows. I don't know how good his cardio is going to look throughout the 3-round fight if it goes. So I won't be making a bet on this fight. But my pick will be David Dvorak. I wouldn't be surprised if Steven Erceg gets a win here, though, because it's a big card, and you got an Australian from Perth, right? But we never heard of this guy, so I got to side with David Dvorak. Next, we got Blake Blauder versus Kyle Nelson. You got Blake Blauder coming in at -200, and he's fighting Kyle Nelson at +165. You got Blake Blauder, who's 8-0-1 with, like, you know, that one draw he had. He's 1-0 in the UFC. He's 32 years old with a 5'8", reach is what I was about to say. He's standing at 5'8" with a 68.5 inch reach. He's fighting Kyle Nelson, as I just said, who's 13-5-1, who's 1-4-1 in the UFC, who's 32 years old, 5'11" with a 71 inch reach. You got Blake Blauder, who is the jiu-jitsu specialist fighting out of Cali. He shows a good use of low leg kicks, moves around the cage well. He shows good top control over low-level grapplers. Throws a nice head kick, will throw in combination, doesn't have a lot of straight punches. Most loopy, like, hooks he throws. He does show offensive submission weapons. He pressures forward well. He has good IQ to quickly grapple when hurt. His head movement is good. Hands a bit open and can get touched up, so he is hittable. He shows a good chin, quick to transition into opponent's back. Hands look serviceable with power, so he does have power in both hands. He's good at backpacking opponents. He has that dog in him. When active in the clinch, he shows good cardio late in fights. Opportunistic subs from bottom, so he's not just looking for subs when on top, but he's looking for subs wherever you got him. He's just looking to finish the fight. You got Kyle Nelson, who is somewhat an all-around Canadian fighter. He can be reversed when opponent's back. When on opponent's back, he can be held down for long moments. He shows some power in his right hand. He did have a knockout versus Reyes. Good use of low leg kicks. Throws a nice body kick. Throws a lot of winging hooks as well. Shows a double leg takedown when he fought Choi. Cardio looks good in 3-round striking fights. Good elbows in the clinch, can shoot sloppy takedown attempts and end up on bottom position, which we don't really like to see. His get-up game needs work. He did give up that double leg takedown versus Billy Quarantino. He did get knocked out versus Billy Quarantino. But other than that, he does throw a nice 1-2 combo. Yeah, man, I'm not seeing much from Kyle Nelson in this fight. I see why he is the underdog, and I see why Blake Browder is minus 200. I would have to side with Blake Browder to win here by submission or KO. I don't think this fight will go the distance. My bet will be Browder money line minus 200, and I do think he can get a late finish in the fight, but I don't know. To be honest. I do want to bet the sub TKO double chance, but money line here seems like the safe pick. That's what we're gonna go with. Next, we're going with Aori Quilang versus Ayman Zahabi. You got Quilang coming in at minus 130, and you got Zahabi coming in at plus 105. Quilang 24-9. He's 2-2 in the UFC. He's 29 years old, standing at 5'7" with a 69-inch reach. You got Zahabi, who's 9-2, 3-2 in the UFC. 35 years old, standing at 5'8" with a 68-inch reach. 68-inch reach. You got Zahabi, who throws a nice body kick. He has fairly low volume, good use of low leg kicks, good use of the jab. Shows power in the right hand. He had a knockout versus Rodriguez. Good knees in the clinch, good use of the elbows, winning close. He can work back up to his feet quickly. He can have takedowns reverse and end up on bottom. Throws a nice uppercut. He can leave opening and striking exchanges. He got knocked out versus Ramos. His cardio looks good in 3-round fights. And on the other end, you got Quilang. He used a good use of low leg kicks. Show power in the left hook when he wobbled Jay Perrin. Good use of the jab. Shows power in the right hand. Rock Jay Perrin. Throws a nice straight right with throwing combinations. Cardio slows late and looks labored late in fights. So that's the big red flag with Quilang. I seen after the second round, or even like mid-second round, he starts to not look himself. It's a lot of like labored movement, a lot of slow, just looking gassed in the cage. But he will mix in flying knees. He will switch his stance to give opponents different looks. He can leave opening and striking exchanges. He got knocked down versus Jeff Molina 2 times in that fight. 2 times. Good striking output, and shows a double leg takedown versus Jeff Molina. My lean here would have to be only because he's the hometown favorite. And I'm not even going to say only because he's the hometown favorite, because, all right, my lean here would have to be Zahabi. And not only because he's the hometown favorite, I also don't like Quilang's cardio late in fights. Zahabi looks like he, can be the same person throughout the whole fight, rounds 1 and 3, same pressure, same forward pressure, looking to keep the fight dirty, looking to mix it in well. Give me Zahabi by decision or late KO. Yeah, that's going to be my pick. I don't know if I'm going to have a bet on that fight yet. Moving on to the next one, we got Miranda Maverick versus Jasmine Juice the Vicious. I can never say that. Juice the Vicious, Jasmine Juice the Vicious. I can never say that name right. This is your typical striker versus grappler match. You got Miranda Maverick, who is the grappler in this fight. She's coming in at minus 300. And on the other end, you got Jasmine Justavicius coming in at plus 240. Freak, man. I'm looking at this minus 300, and I know for sure Miranda Maverick should not be a minus 300. Now, with saying that, she is 11-4 in the UFC. She's 11-4 in the UFC. That's wrong. She's 11-4 in her pro career. She's 4-2 in the UFC. She's 25 years old, standing at 5'3" with a 65.5-inch reach. On the other end, you got Jasmine Justavicius, who's 8-2 in her pro career, 2-1 in the UFC, 34 years old, standing at 5'7" with a 68-inch reach. My pick for this fight, I'm not even gonna go into a film breakdown. I did watch some of their fights. I watched Jasmine Justavicius versus Silva versus Kay Hansen versus Fernandez. I watched Miranda Maverick versus Mazzani. I watched her versus Barbara. I watched her versus Blanchfield, right? My pick for this fight, first of all, stay away from this fight. 100% stay away from this fight. It's low-level MMA. It's even lower level than the first fight, in my opinion. But my pick is going to be Miranda Maverick. The odds are way off, in my opinion. We have seen Maverick get taken down and controlled numerous times, and it was bad her last fight. And that plays right into Jasmine's game sometimes. Who will be the bigger girl in this matchup? Who's stronger in the clinch? I expect Maverick to be fixing the issues that she had in her last fight. She is young, and the reason I'm siding with her is because she's young. But I don't think she should be a minus 300 here. More like a pick'em. Next, we got Chris Curtis versus Nasruddin Imanov. I'm checking right now to see. This is the last fight on the. This is the last fight we'll be going over right now. Last fight on the prelims, and I still don't know why either one of these fighters are on the prelims, but I'm pretty sure it's a featured prelim fight. But in my opinion, they could have switched this fight with the Mike Malott versus Adam Fugit fight. That's just my opinion. Put Chris Curtis on the main card at all times. Put Nasruddin Imanov on the main card. I don't know at all times, but yeah, put Nasruddin Imanov on the main card as well. Chris Curtis shouldn't be on the prelims for sure. You got Nasruddin Imanov as the favorite in this fight, which kind of surprised me. He's minus 125. You got Chris Curtis at plus 105. You got Nasruddin Imanov 12-4 in the UFC. 4-2 in the 12-4. I keep saying it in the UFC first. 12-4 in his pro career. Nasruddin is 12-4 in his pro career. 4-2 in the UFC. He's 27 years old. He's standing at 6'3" with a 75-inch reach. He's fighting Sean Strickland's crazy half brother, is what I call him now, Chris Curtis. And the only reason I call him that is because they kind of remind me of the Dudley Boys version of the MMA. I grew up off of early WWE, so so I like to have fun with this, right? So Chris Curtis, 30-10. He's 4-2 in his pro career. He's 4-2 in the UFC. He's 35 years old. He's standing 5'10" with a 75-inch reach, a 75.5-inch reach. Man, oh man, this is going to be a banger fight. I do see why this is the I was about to say, I do see why this is the featured prelim. If it had to be a prelim, right? I see why they would make this a featured prelim. To be honest, it could have started a main card, in my opinion. But when I'm looking at Nasruddin Imanov, he has a great use of the jab. He throws a nice overhand right. He throws a nice teep kick. He has a good use of low leg kicks. He will throw in combinations. Will throw a nice left hook. Has good elbows when breaking from the clinch. Good striking output at 5.5 significant strikes per minute. In a 5-round fight, his cardio looked good through 3.5 rounds, but looked a bit labored in the fourth and later rounds. He can catch kicks and trips his opponents afterwards. Good use of knees in the clinch. Can reverse opponents that has sloppy takedowns and gain top control from it. Has good foot movement and head movement on the feet. I was about to say on the feet. He has good movement, head and feet movement, right? He did show a double leg takedown versus Joaquin Buckley. He showed good back control in a body lock versus Buckley. His cardio slowed around 2.5 rounds in a high-paced striking and grappling fight versus Joaquin Buckley. I don't think he will be having to do. Who knows? He might be doing some grappling here in this fight because Chris Curtis is no joke on the feet either, right? He's pretty much a boxer. That's what I call him too, Chris Curtis the boxer, because yeah, he doesn't throw that many low leg kicks. He don't throw that many kicks at all. He has a nice 1-2 combo. He mixes strikes to the body well. He doesn't use many kicks. That's what I started off with, freaking. He has good knees in the clinch, good elbows when in close. His cardio looks good in the 3-round striking fight. He has accurate striking, like almost dead on. Keeps a high guard. You'll always see him in the cage like this, coming towards his opponent and, you know, just looking to box, looking to go toe-to-toe with his opponent. He does show good head movement. He can stay safe from sub-attempts. But with that being said, he is subjected to get taken down from time to time. He can shoot for his own takedown, you know, from time to time as well. He set up his shots nicely. He has power in his hands. That don't even need to be said. We seen him knock out Buckley. We seen him knock out Allen. We seen him knock out Halls. Will we see him knock out Nasruddin Imanov here? I don't think so. This fight is going to be close, but I would have to lean it going towards the decision. And I want to go Chris Curtis, but Nasruddin Imanov has more tools in his tool bag. You know, with him throwing kicks and Chris Curtis not throwing kicks, I think that's going to be the big factor. With him shooting for more takedowns, having the better wrestling out of it too, I think that's going to be a big factor as well. So I would have to lean Imanov inside the distance. No, I'll have to leave Imanov by decision. I think he can get the first 2 rounds, and yeah, man, I think he wins all 3 rounds, not clearly, but like closely, and maybe with a takedown to edge it out the rounds, or some clinch control time pressed up against the cage to edge out the win here. I'm not too confident in this fight to bet it, but I'll probably do bet the over 1.5 once I see the lines drop for that, right? That is going to be all for the prelims. We are picking Nasruddin Imanov to win by decision. We're picking Miranda Maverick to win her only way by decision. We're picking who did I say next? We're picking Zahibi to win by decision or late KO. We're picking Blake Bowder to win by submission or decision. We're picking David Durack to win by decision, and we're picking Diana Belbita to win by decision as well. I will be posting these picks on Twitter right after I make this video, just to know what my first picks of the week is. I will try to lock some of these in. And man, thank you guys for watching this video. I will be bringing more content later. content later in the week with the main card picks, a PFL quick pick, and a lottery pick. So I'll give y'all 3 more videos later in the week. Man, remember to like, share, subscribe, comment. Do whatever you want to do with this video. We're out. Peace.